today, September 4th, it's 9:28 p.m. I've had like such a low-key day, and it was kind of awesome because like I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have taken the time to really rest and be with myself today because I feel like I have a lot to do. But I was just also like hit with this energy that I knew I had to alchemize. So how this all works for me in this process that I'm going through is, this awareness that I have is allowing me to alchemize things as they arise. And so the way I feel the thing that I have to alchemize is through my solar plexus. And so I had one come up, and it had been 2 days, but those 2 days were like so busy for me. Like really, really taking everything inside me to alchemize what I was going through real time. Some of the energies were playing out in my life in order for me to clear karma and soul contracts, which I was successful at. And so to me, it's like I know where I'm going with this. I know that there's, a place where I'm getting to, which is where I don't have to be so busy with alchemy. But I'm not there yet. And it's nice that I get some breaks and things like that. But today, my break was because I had one to alchemize, and because basically my guide said, look, you can't just keep going and going and going and trying to figure this out. Your mind's going to get you lost. So relax, sit back. We know you don't like to do that. It's funny because I do like to do that, but whenever I normally do that, I'm in my mind, I'm figuring things out, I'm strategizing, I'm digging deep, I'm alchemizing. So, but today they were just like, nope, this is a rest day. So I started out my day with a great connection with a friend, and after we had that nice conversation, I did a quick recording just based on the vibration I was in and to celebrate that. And then I took the rest of the day and just kind of chilled and watched movies. And just let myself feel that I was exactly where I needed to be, and that despite the feeling of the thing and showing up in my field that I needed to alchemize, that it wasn't like something I needed to work at, which is not how I usually do it. Like my guides are often telling me that I work really hard, and I don't know how to compare, because I'm trying, like that's the whole thing. It's like I'm not meant to compare, so I don't really know that, but, they tell me that. So I'm like, okay, so I let myself rest, and yeah, so here we are at the end of the day, and I'm just like realizing what it was that I alchemized today. And it was conformity. I alchemized conformity today. I feel like moved into this new space. Not saying that it's the end game for me and this is what I've been trying to achieve. I'm saying this is like a new space that I'm entering, where now I don't know how I'm going to do this, because it's like I've moved into a bigger awareness about conforming and what that means, and just how to handle all interactions from now on. But my butt was going to be about like finding the people that are like me and are doing this, and I think actually this will lead me to that, because approaching life from this new awareness allows me to kind of let people go that need to go, and I don't want to hurt people, and I want to get along, and I feel like if I'm being true to me and speaking from my heart, like why can't we all just get along? Like I honestly don't get it, sometimes from this human level, why people don't like me. From a soul level, I get it. I get that we had a contract and we're playing something out. But like these people that my soul knows, my soul loves, like I'm in the soul energy, I'm in the soul level awareness, so like I love this soul. So it's been weird But then I just have to realize and remember, okay, well, this soul is going to be always with me. Like, there's just playing a part here for us to alchemize this and see it for what it is, because we can't alchemize things that we don't see. So we need people to play these things out with us. So it's actually beautiful. And my guides have assured me that, you know, if it's somebody that I'm not, if it's even my worst enemy, that I have what it takes to win over my worst enemy. And I do believe that. I believe that I do, you know? But I'm not going to, like, work that hard about that. Like, I'm not going to go towards every person that has a beef with me and try to convince them why they should get over themselves. Like, I'm just going to allow them to hold it and have it. And I assume that if someone needs my help, they'll ask me. That's where I'm at with it. So, you know, sometimes I do have people ask me, and I've been learning the best ways to handle that. Like, I had a whole bunch of my own stuff to clear through that process of like, what is appropriate to help people with, how much help should I be giving them, you know, is it appropriate for me to go into their energy body and rearrange things that they haven't learned the lesson on yet? Well, I'm realizing no, not necessarily, because that will probably make their process harder. So what I like to do is show people how to do it. A lot of people are prohibited in the way that they don't believe they can do it. So a lot of people that come to me are just at the end of their rope. They're very much tried everything else and are ready to surrender. So, and that's great, because that makes it a lot easier. I don't have to work so hard for it. And that's the angle where I know how to get in, you know. I don't really love when someone comes to me for help but they don't really want help, that they're just trying to investigate what I'm doing here and, like, playing a game and, you know, all that stuff like that. I haven't had that, you know, recently or anything, but that had happened in the distant past. And so what I learned from that is, you know, oh yeah, be more discerning, have an agreement about what your expectations are and all that stuff. But conforming, you know, if I had continued conforming, that will rob me of the light that I am, because the conformity that would have to be done is conforming to paradigms that I've come here to alchemize, like greed and hate and lower dimensional things and victimhood and fear that humans are experiencing are what I came to alchemize. So if I do any form of trying to conform, then I'm working against myself. And it's really important for me to do what I came here to do. It's not important for me to have followers or have people understand it necessarily. I'm an energy. I'm an energy that will affect things whether or not people like it. Like, I came to anchor an energy, and because I'm a very powerful energy and I'm a very adept energy and I have a lot of strength and I have a lot of awareness, I can alchemize things very, very easily, very fast. Actually, I've had healers work with me that are surprised. They're like, oh, I don't have to do what I normally have to do with people with you. It just goes shoop. I'm like, yes. Apparently I did a lot of work in other lifetimes to get to this place, but that is hard for the human part of me. The human part of me, like I said, doesn't want to not have people, and doesn't want to not love people, and doesn't want to not trust people, and doesn't understand why people would be so judgmental of me. Like she really doesn't. My human is so innocent. Aww. Yeah, I think my human is sad because so many times she walked into situations so open-hearted, only to be rejected because that open-heartedness scares people. And I've learned about why that is. It's because when you are in front of somebody with an open heart and they don't want to open their heart because they've been hurt and they have coping mechanisms that are specifically keeping others from seeing into their broken heart, then someone broken-hearted feels intimidating. and it feels like their defenses are going up to protect themselves, and they feel very justified in doing so. And the justification comes in the stories that they continue to tell themselves about why it was okay to do that. And I've experienced it, I've experienced the other way, where I can open my heart and somebody will open their heart in response. Like, my open heart has the power to make someone run away or to open their heart. And a lot of my human programming didn't allow me to even receive people who would match me at open-heartedness. So that has been really nice and beautiful, and I've loved when that happens. And look forward to that happening a lot more. Because, to be honest, I'd rather alchemize things with my open heart. But, I haven't had a consistently open heart. I've had moments of open-heartedness, and then my human has also been damaged in a way that her heart was something she felt she needed to protect. And so it's closed down, and whenever your heart is closed down, you can succumb to fear. And so my human would be fearful of people's motives, or even like worries about what their power was over her. Like, this part of me that is human, I'm human. Yes, I'm not acting like I'm not human, because I am human. I'm having a human experience, and this human part of me, succumb to things like humiliation and stuff like that. But like, those are the things that I'm here to alchemize. It's like, one human can't really humiliate another human. Yes, one human can convince a lot of other humans that this human is not of value. So they're just kind of spreading a virus, right? But I know I am of value. Like, I know I have something really awesome and bright and beautiful. And I want to share it. Like, it's not like I'm being greedy. I'm just like, do-do-do. Like, don't you guys just want to get along? And they're like, no, we're scared and we're under duress and we're pissed off, so rah. And I'm like, oh. That's how it's gonna be. And sometimes I would get ferociously angry. It would depend on the person. If I felt superior to them, I might be angry, or if I felt inferior to them, I might just hang my head and walk away. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, oh, I'm not superior or inferior to anybody. I literally am just a different aspect of what it is to be human in this experience. And from a spiritual perspective, I happen to have a lot of power because I've earned it, because I worked hard for it, because I learned and experimented and allowed it for myself. But it's not that I'm better or stronger or higher up. It's that that's one of my strengths. I have weaknesses too. A lot of the earth stuff is my weakness, like communication and social decorum and all of that stuff. It doesn't even make sense to me, social decorum, sometimes. I'm like, why would you hold yourself in a pattern of unhappiness to try to fit into a group of people that have certain expectations of you, when those expectations are keeping you in a feeling of unhappiness, and also letting you know that they can't really see you. They don't really care what you really want. They're just putting you in this role. And that's kind of what it was like growing up in the family I had. It's like, you have this one role, and if you're not fulfilling that role, you're of no choice, no good to us. So I understand conforming from that level. It's because, like, okay, well, in order to survive this family, in order to have the love that I need from these people that I love, I'm going to need to act like this, like they expect. And it was a lot to give that up. It was a lot to give that up. It was hard to give that up. Felt unfair. It felt not worth it. All kinds of stuff, came up for me. That's my whole life. My family is my whole life. Like, my whole life and everything that is important to me. But you know what happened? When I walked away, half of them came back. you know, like they still love me, they're still there for me, they're starting to wake up to the dynamic themselves, and they're starting to realize, and I don't think that they would have done that if I just stayed playing it with them. Me walking away from that dynamic allowed them to go, whoa, like, what are we doing here? Are we really gonna just like shun one of our own because we were assuming something about her that isn't true? Some of them, yes. You know, it depends on how they feel in the face of an open heart. An open heart is somebody being true to who they really are. Being true to who I really am involves me not playing in the dynamic of power struggles and putting me in this expectation and all that stuff. But I do get it's hard, and that's kind of what I had to relive today, is like walking away from just basically all the people that know me and expect me to be a certain way. It's like they'll like me in this capacity, they'll like me in this capacity, but not in all the capacities, and I have to play a role for some of them, but not all of them at all. Most of the people that I know, I've found, actually accept me for who I am. They may be confused and they may not quite get it, but they really do like me. They really do like things about me, and they support me in the way that they know how, and that's such a beautiful thing. So in walking away, it's not really like I lose everything. It just seems like that at the moment. It just seems like giving something up. It just seems like it's terrible and undoable and like it can't be done and like I won't recover and it's not worth it. It's too scary and all that stuff in the moment. But the reward for doing so is that anyone who was only willing to hold me in that power dynamic, in that power play dynamic, falls away when I don't want to play that anymore. So yeah, I lost the illusion of somebody's love. But is it really love if somebody isn't holding you and what you need in as high regard as they hold themselves? Not really. That's called attachment. That's the thing that I'm here to alchemize. So I can't play that anymore. I can't do that anymore. I can't, but I am a perfectly acceptable and lovable human being on this totally other level of who I really am. And if I continue to be who I really am and shed all the ways that I'm not, of what I'm not, and basically walk away from the expectations of the people who are trying to keep me in a certain role for their comfort, if I do that, then actually the reward on the other side is this beauty of freedom. I mean, freedom! I really love freedom. Freedom, it seems to be my most important thing. One time I did a meditation years ago to find out like my core life purpose, and it was like freedom. Yeah. And that is like, I have a lot of fire energy. Sagittarius, Jupiter is basically ruling my chart. And that Sagittarian energy, that fire energy, is all about freedom and burning away anything that's going to prohibit and contain the fire. Like, this is a fire, okay? Now, I also have a lot of water, and that's why I'm so steamy sometimes. And I have a lot of air, and that's why I can get caught up here. But I don't have a lot of earth. And that's where my floatiness comes from. That's actually a doorway for me, a doorway to figure out the best way for me to become grounded and become of the earth. And so that is like where maybe all my weaknesses lie, but also all the opportunities for improvement and major opportunity for alchemy, because it's like I am coming in with this fresh view of what's happening here from this view of not really being able to fit into it. So I automatically have a different view of it. I don't value it as much as maybe somebody who it's been working for them. So I have just a different angle than them. And it doesn't mean that I don't want to do what they're doing. It just means that my view of what they're doing is not exactly the view that they may hold. So I have to like take in their view and take in their view and take in their view to try to formulate this bigger picture from me to navigate how I'm going to be grounded on this earth and be on this earth as the being that I am bearing light and using that to alchemize. And I think that that is the piece of my puzzle that's been missing, is this ability to ground to earth so that I can actually enjoy my time here and not be such like a workaholic on the spiritual journey. Like, that is what's left to do, is enjoy being in a vessel that has pleasure and fun and laughter and can admire beauty and full living color and feeling. So I really like that. I'm really glad that my guides kind of pushed me to take some time today, because it was like I didn't even have to work for it. I literally had to watch movies and let my subconscious do the rest and just be with the part of me that was in pain. And then on the other side of it, after we heal something, we can see it more clearly. And that's when I realized, oh, it was conformity. I was healing the pain of not being able to fit in, of trying to fit in and not being able to fit in. And then what happened was I realized, oh, well, I'm just not going to fit in, but it doesn't mean that I don't fit here. It just means that I probably won't blend in. You know, that sometimes that's what happens when you're fiery. You don't blend in. Fire tends to command attention. And that was very uncomfortable for me in the beginning of this, and I don't know, how comfortable I'll get with this, but this me sharing on YouTube is a result of me pushing out of the comfort zone I was in, of hiding, of conforming, like when I look at my astrology chart and what my soul wants to do here, it's express outwardly, publicly, to the world, what my philosophy is, what my beliefs are, what I believe. And it's not that my belief is the belief for everybody. It's not that at all. It's that I am an example of somebody who is willing to pioneer their own way. Not so you can follow me, just so you can pioneer your own way, so that you know that it's possible to do that. Like, that you're reminded that, look, here's this person who's willing to go in the direction that no one else is going, to not conform, and fall on her face the whole way, and make mistakes, and do things that the people conforming might consider humiliating, and I know that because I started out feeling that way about these things. Like, how humiliating when I make a mistake, how humiliating when I say something and people don't support it, how humiliating when I stay in a relationship too long when I'm being deceived and betrayed. How humiliating when I keep going back to the same person to be rejected and rejected and rejected and rejected. How humiliating when I stay working amongst people who are gossiping behind me. How humiliating when I have conversations repeatedly and trust and be vulnerable to people who are actually deceiving me and showing kind of a two-facedness. Actually, it's not really humiliating. I think it's beautiful, and I think, like, what a cute, beautiful, innocent human I have been. And also, being in all those positions as a human made me realize, like, I've already been humiliated. I've already made the mistakes. People already know I fuck up. Now I can go forward on this path and forge my own way into something that really matters to me, that I feel is worthwhile. And as I make mistakes, I already know I can recover from it. I already know that's part of what I'm doing here. That it's okay to make mistakes, that it's part of learning and growing. And the only reason that I thought it wasn't okay is because as a child, there was punishment for being wrong. There was a severe punishment sometimes for being wrong. And so there was a part of my programming that said, oh, must not be wrong. Actually eliminating that program is very freeing. And it's like, that program is designed to keep us in a box and keep us in lack. Because if we're afraid to make mistakes, how are we going to try anything? How are we going to get out of any comfort zone? So it's actually like questioning things is just the road to the freedom, and all the experiences I've had as this human have prepared me for what skills I need to traverse what I'm doing here. And what I'm doing here now from this point forward is literally just learning how to survive on Earth, on the Earth plane, like how to support myself fully, how to make money, how to get my car serviced on time, how to not like keep so many items on hand that I feel weighed down by them, how to have really beautiful conversations of connection with other human beings, how to gather people together and love each other, how to negotiate difficult topics, how to comfort others when they're struggling. How to repair things, how to respect things, how to discard things, how to respect lives, the lives of not just humans, but animals and insects and all creatures. All of that is kind of what I'm working on now, and I think all that leaves a lot of room for joy and pleasure and creation, creativity, and also room for my mind to be, learning and growing, and also like the space that I need for my heart to stay open and be open and just live in my light so much that I'm just enjoying life, that whatever comes my way I know I can handle it, that I'm not trying to control other people, what they think or what they do at all in any capacity. That whatever they do is their path and it's respected as such. And if our paths are not meant to cross, or if we cross paths and we're not meant to stay, that we just go our own way with no hard feelings, no karma created. Because my whole point in being on Earth is to alchemize all karma. And that means balance everything out. And that balance is where my fun is. That balance is kind of in a way balancing my spiritual beliefs with my Earth experience, creating balance between these two things. And and now I will be doing it from the perspective outside of conformity, and doing that as if like that's not a bad thing or a wrong thing or a thing that will get me laughed at or excluded. There will be some people, but that's totally okay, because there'll be some people that will leave that will make room for people that will actually see me and enjoy my energy and want to be around it and want to create and have fun and give and receive with each other, with me, like on a honest level, on a level that's not a power struggle, on a level that doesn't say you have to be this in order for you to be in my sphere. And me not doing that to others as well. Me not have an expectation of others, other than that if we're in agreement and we are sharing intimacy, I'm only going to do that after I've discerned with a person and have an agreement that we're both honoring and respecting each other's vulnerability. That what I share with a person isn't going to be shared with others or twisted or used against me later or things like that. Like that's the type of relating dynamics that have alchemized and will no longer participate in, and will no longer perpetuate against others either. And if I see somebody's wound or perceived weakness or whatever, I'm going to assume that if they have it, if they carry it, that is theirs to have and carry, that they need that for now, and when it's time for them to shed it, if it's ever time for them to shed it, they will. They don't have to do that for me. In order to be, in my life, they have to just be honest and have integrity and loyalty in some ways, although I think kind of loyalty is kind of a made-up thing because we all have our own idea of what it is. But the integrity is being in line with who they really are and what they believe. And so I'll line up with people who believe like me and who think it's important to honor their beliefs. Yeah, it feels really good. Feels really good because it's like, when I'm breaking out of conformity, it's not like breaking out of society. It's breaking out of the patterns that society is leaving behind. And that's a beautiful place to be. And I'm so lucky. And for me to call out people who are living in those patterns, maybe I don't have to do that so much anymore from this point forward. It was perfect for me to do it to the point that I came here, and now it's like, oh, I think I can shed that now. Cool. Now I can just focus on me, loving me, being good to me, giving me the experiences that I want and need. And then whatever's in front of me, I'll deal with to alchemize, through that process. So that sounds really perfect and freedom giving, and leaves a lot of room for fun and adventure and room to explore and see what else. What else?